I always thought the honey bears were kind of inherently creepy, and so I actually had some googly eyes, and I put some googly eyes, little tiny ones, on the honey bear to accentuate his creepiness. I'm Brock Davis. I'm an artist, and I work in a variety of different mediums and disciplines. When it comes to how I execute work and my style, I really like a strong idea, and I love a good, simple execution. Spontaneous ideas that are conceptually strong, and then once I have that idea, I really like to try to help it realize itself by giving it the most perfect and appropriate execution that it can have. And I think that's why I work in so many different mediums, because not every medium is appropriate for every idea. We are in Northeast Minneapolis. This is the California building. The work in this gallery today basically is a physical representation of my project of 2009, Make Something Cool Every Day, where I had to make at least one piece of creative work every day, whether it be like an illustration, a piece of photography, or a sculpture, anything like that. I had to make that every day for 365 consecutive days, January 1st through December 31st.
Brock Davis is an art director, a creative director, photographer, sculptor, designer, and a musician. There's a super aesthetically pleasing qualities, like it's very ordered, and it's also very spontaneous and highly creative.
So this is January. And actually January started out pretty strong as far as I felt like it was, I felt like I had a lot of ideas to get out very quickly. Probably the most successful piece of January was the notepad with the lines made out of thread, and also the Shattered series. When I posted these up, people just assumed that I either did it completely in Photoshop or I submerged these objects in liquid nitrogen and then dropped them on the floor. And I probably would have done it that way if I thought about that, but what I did was I just cut them with an X-Acto knife, and I like the idea of things like shattering like glass, even though they're not made to do that. Coming up with an idea every day actually wasn't a very difficult thing for me to do. To me, the more difficult part is coming up with ideas that are unique, that are interesting, that are original. The interesting thing about this project is there are some cool things in here, but there are some things that aren't so cool. But I like that, though. I like that it's you're showing people like everything. You can't really hide from your successes and your failures. They're all on display.
One of the things that makes this show great is that he has so many strengths. He's firing on all cylinders, like with the photography and the design sense, the creative ability to come up with something. Illustration, his illustration is very powerful, and it's very rare, I think, to find somebody who's like a really excellent illustrator. He can also like sculpt things. And we haven't even talked about music, see?
Okay, this is February, and I had a brief stint of wrapping objects in yarn. Probably my favorite pieces of February was the bookend piece. In this piece, I actually spray painted my hand gold to make it, and I don't recommend ever doing that. I had to use turpentine to get it off, and I'm probably going to have cancer of the hand at some point. But the interesting thing with this one, though, is a lot of times if I would have an idea one day, it would maybe inspire another idea another day. So you can see, like after I made this, then I still had gold paint left over. So I started spray painting these objects gold, and I used up my paint, and then I moved on to something else. Because the project was for a Flickr group, what we would do is, and when I say we, I mean other people doing this project as well. Whenever I would have something made, whether it be a photograph or an illustration, I would scan it or upload it from the camera to my computer, and then I would just upload it to the Flickr group.
Brock's been getting a lot of attention from his recent work. If you look at his Flickr page, you can see the kind of comments that he has from people, and they're just really adoring fans and people who say, like, please give me your brain for one day, that kind of thing.
This is a piece that I did just for fun, and I need to get a life using the Twitter, Google, Facebook, Flickr, and the YouTube logos kind of to make a sentence. Obviously, the web is such a cultural part of our lives now, maybe too much. A lot of the pieces I put like on this particular wall were conceptual pieces that did resonate pretty well. The Stubble self-portrait, and believe it or not, this is a piece that people just assume is done in the computer. And it's pretty frustrating actually, because it only took about a half hour to make that, and it was drawn with a toothpick, just called it Stubble self-portrait. That piece right there, I actually got that idea from my son. He was peeling off the Rubik's Cube and sticking it on the wall. And I looked at it and I'm like, do you mind if I steal that idea from you? And he's like, no. He didn't say anything because he just doesn't know what I'm talking about. Most of these pieces were created just by daily observations in my house. One of the things I try to do is observe something that seems seemingly mundane and hopefully make something interesting out of that, or extract the creative potential from that object. Well, as we were walking through the gallery today, I noticed a couple of the electrical outlets. I saw one of them and it kind of made me think of an idea. So I went and got my Sharpie and let's see if I can make something out of it that's interesting. Hopefully, but you never know. Originally, I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I moved up here in late '94, and I moved up here because I took a job as an art director at a local ad agency here. And when I was in advertising school, Minnesota was considered one of the creative hotspots to work as an art director or a copywriter. I've worked up here about 15 years now, and the art scene in Minneapolis is phenomenal, and everyone really encourages everyone else, and it's just a really strong community for art and for local music. It's just a wonderful place to live if you're a creative person. I present to you Snoutlet using a Sharpie marker and someone else's electrical outlet.